What about it? In today's video, I've got 4 lawn care experts here, and they're going to share some tips and tricks on how to get your lawn ready for spring. And I have some really exciting news to share, but more on that later.
I'm Richard Salmon, and I'm going to talk to you today about the importance of soil to grow the best possible lawn. So I'm just going to look at some soil now underneath. If we haven't got good soil, we're not going to get a good lawn. It's resulting in good soil structure, good healthy root system that's growing down out of this particular soil. If it was compacted, there would be no root structure and that soil wouldn't hold together. The fact that soil is holding together shows you there's a good root structure because the roots are growing down through the soil, holding onto the soil. What that means is in the summer month, when that moisture is evaporated because of the summer heat, these roots are going further down into the soil profile and they will enable the grass to stay longer alive because it's actually tapping into water below the soil. So a good soil structure, good root growth, a much better lawn in the summer. So here we are in the orchard lawn. It's a slightly different soil type to the front lawn, but let's have a look and see whether it differs at all, shall we? Already I can see that's a slightly different soil type, a lot heavier, not so much sand in it, and a little bit more on the compacted side. In the winter months we want to try and avoid compaction because these areas that should be full of air are now not full of air because they're compacted. So this grass here will suffer in terms of some of those older leaves will start to die off because all grass needs oxygen. And if we're short of oxygen, there's not enough oxygen to go around, so some of these older leaves are going to start to die off. So getting that structure right in the winter month is really important, and that's where we'll probably use an aeration tool or some time which is going to break through and open up the soil to allow oxygen in. Because if you think about it, most lawns are walked on, they're mowed with a mower with possibly a roller on. Everything we're doing to a lawn, we're squashing the air out of it. We've got to try and get air back in, and so with an aeration machine which is punching holes in, we're going to get oxygen back into the soil. Not only is that going to improve the structure, but there's lots of good bacteria and fungi that live under the soil, under the grass, and if they haven't got oxygen, they can't breed. We want to encourage as much bacteria and as much fungi to do their bit in the soil because they're going to release nutrients into the soil solution that the plant can then take up. So there's organic matter that's locked up in the soil, and the bacteria and fungi work a lot better if there's oxygen in the soil. So we've got to harness the goodness from the oxygen, not hinder it. And that's where rolling and compaction is not good, but aeration and an open soil is really good for our lawn. So don't trample over your lawn in the winter months, but do aerate it if you get an opportunity to. Good test as to whether the soil is healthy or not. If it smells sweet, almost like sweet meadow soil, there's a good indication there's a lot of oxygen in the soil and that's a healthy soil. If it smells a little bit rancid, almost a little bit like seaweed, then that's a good indication it could be anaerobic. And what I mean by anaerobic is that the soil is functioning without oxygen, so it starts to ferment and rot a little bit, which isn't ideal for the grass. We want a nice sweet soil, lots of oxygen, healthy lawn. So here we are at the test site where we've got 3 different grass situations. So if we look at the first one down here, we've got a predominant rye sward. Now perennial ryegrass is quite an open grass, which means that you can see into it and you can see the soil. It is prone to a lot of dieback, and if you can see here, for example, what happens is we've just followed 2 or 3 very warm wet months. Now this grass plant here, its main leaf is alive, its second and third leaf, but this leaf here, the plant decides, I haven't got enough oxygen left in the soil because it's saturated, I'm going to abort that leaf. The plant still stays alive, but it just looks a little bit untidy because you've got a lot of yellowness in it. So ryegrass is particularly prone to tillers dying off in the winter months, and it can lead to quite an open sward when you come to the spring. So there are ways of overcoming that by overseeding and aerating, but I just wanted to, on this example, show you the different types of grass situation we've got. So this section here, predominantly a ryegrass sward. We have this section here, a mixture of ryegrass and Kentucky bluegrass, which is Poa pratensis, and this section here is a mixture of tall fescue and ryegrass. This particular trial, we're looking mainly at a fescue sward. You can see the grass is a lot finer than the ryegrass was, but you'll also notice there's a lot less dieback than there was in the ryegrass sward. Rye we know is prone to winter dieback and thinning. This lawn itself, if you're looking from the top, it's still quite thick. So it's quite a good lawn to help withstand the rigours of winter. It will still have yellowness, it will still have the odd leaf dying off because there's not enough oxygen to go around, so it will still abort some of those leaves it can't support, but generally a fescue lawn will come through the winter better than a ryegrass lawn will. So here we are on the third section of lawn, and we've got a mixture of tall fescue, other types of fescue, and a little bit of ryegrass in there as well. So it's not different in the fact that it is losing some of its leaves. There is a little bit of yellowness in the bottom there, but that's to be expected this time of year. We are in January, it followed 2 or 3 months of mild wet weather, but it will recover, and we're going to show you how to help it recover. And if we look in particular at the original sward I showed you, if we look over here, you can see there's quite a lot of yellowing of the leaf tips. If you can see there, that's suffered in the winter months, just from being too wet and too mild. But one of my other superstars will be along shortly to show you how to rectify this lawn and how to make it look good in readiness for spring.
Whoa, what about that? Richard, thank you so much. Fantastic advice. Now, before I show you the rest of my superstars, I've got something really important to tell you. I'm starting a new second YouTube channel called Roots to Revenue. It's a podcast channel, and it's going to be about tips and advice on how to grow a small business. The people that are featured in today's video, the experts that are in today's video, are all going to be on the new podcast channel, and they're here to record some content for the podcast, and I asked them for their lawn care tips and advice. Some really, really good stuff coming up. Before I show you the next one, just in the video description and in the comments and at the end of this video, there's going to be a link to the new channel, so make sure to head over there and check it out after you finish this video. Now, let's go and see what my next lawn care superstar is up to. He's in the garden.
Hi, my name's Jack, and today I'm going to be giving you some lawn mowing tips to give your lawn its best start this year. So there's a couple of things that we need to do before we even get the lawnmower out. So now we've got the twigs cleared, now we're going to consider how we're going to deal with the next biggest bugbear, which coming out of winter is often worm casts. So worm casts are just the deposit that worms leave when they come to the surface, such as this here. We're now going to show you a few easy ways of dealing with these worm casts so we can get a good cut in of the lawn. So this is the Greenkeeper Swish. To be completely honest, I've never used one of these before, and it's not actually all that easy. Let's try something a bit easier. My personal favourite tool for my little lawn, and that's a broom. So this is just a simple stiff brush, something that everyone would have often around the house. This is my preferred weapon of choice when it comes to dealing with worm casts. It does a great job in dispersing worm casts, knocking any moisture just off the leaf of the grass, just to give you a better cut when it comes to mowing, and it's perfect when you've got a smaller lawn. So brushing your lawn is a great move throughout the winter and spring months. We've just knocked the moisture off the leaves of the grass, and we've dispersed the worm casts. If you're looking to mow your lawn potentially later in the day, this would be ideal to do in the morning, or if you realise that your lawn is maybe a little bit soft and a little bit too wet to cut, at very least you can give it a brush and even put a few stripes in the lawn in the process. Now we're going to take a look at the drag mat. This is the ideal tool really for Robbie's lawn rather than trying to use a broom. So as you can see, the drag mat is much better for medium to large lawns for dispersing worm casts. You can even stripe up with the drag mat as well, but that's not too important today as we're going to give the lawn a cut. So we've cleared the lawn for debris, including all of those twigs, and we've dispersed worm casts as best that we can. We checked that the lawn's dry enough to cut. We've got the mower. There's one more thing that we need to do. Regular viewers will remember this. It's really important that we check the height of the lawn before we consider giving it that cut. So the lawn's about 4 centimetres long. We want to be sure that we're following the 1/3 rule. So in this instance, we certainly don't want to be cutting the lawn any shorter than 30 millimetres. On this mower, the bottom setting is 30 millimetres. There's not a need to cut quite that low, so we're quite happy to cut on the setting 1 from the top, given that this is just the first cut of the year. Now we've set the height of cut, let's cut some grass. If you cut your lawn on a setting and it's slightly too high, that's okay. You can always drop the blades down again, if straight away or even the following weekend. The important thing is to know that you know your own lawn and the settings on your own lawn mower.
Hello, I'm Curtis. Today we are going to show you some aeration techniques. Following on from Richard talking about lawn aeration, we're now going to show you some of the equipment we're going to use. So we've got Robbie's lawn aerator here that you've probably seen in many videos, and we're also going to show 2 other options if you haven't got one of these machines and you don't want to hire one in. Many of you guys may have a drill at home. You probably won't have one of these auger pieces. There will be a link in the description as to where you can get one of these. I'm sure Robbie will put that in for you. What you're going to get with this one is you're actually going to get a lot deeper than a normal drill bit. You could use a normal one, but with this we're going to get a lot further down. We're just going to go down to the edge of the lawn to try this. May not be suitable for all lawns because where we are here in this big field, it is quite stony. As you can see, the ground is very wet and we have hit a lot of stones going down here, so we didn't quite get the hole and the depth we would have liked to have got. We've tried it on the test patch, we're now going to try it on the main lawn. I'm on the main lawn to try in one of these corners where it gets a lot more wear from the mowers. If you're going to go deep with the auger bit, just be mindful of any services or any wires underneath. You could now fill the hole back in with stones, compost or a free draining sand, which is going to benefit the lawn massively. We've showed you the drill, we've showed you the big machine, we're now going to show you something that you all probably have. Everyone has probably got one of these. If you haven't, go and get one. This is best done early spring or through the winter when the ground isn't too hard. This is hard work, and if you can't be bothered to do the whole lawn, let me show you on the areas you should concentrate on. On Robbie's lawn here, this is the only access on and off the lawn. As you can see, it is yellowing and thin and there is some bare spots here. So we're going to run over it with the fork, get some holes in there and just get some air in there. I only come here for the podcast, I didn't come here for this.
So Robbie's told me that I'm not going to lift back to the airport until I treat his lawn. I've tried to expand to do North Essex, not Northern Ireland, but I better get a wiggle on because otherwise I'm not going to get home in time. Hi guys, Mark from The Lawnologist, and today I'm going to talk to you about a little hack for springtime that's going to give you a richer, greener, more verdant lawn and get rid of them yellow tips in the grass you've probably seen throughout the winter period. Let's get on with it. So believe it or not, and you've probably seen Robbie use this product several times in his videos, iron sulphate. Now, this is a powdered product. Pre-mix it yourself. Takes a little bit of mucking around, but this is the cheaper one out of the three. And this will add a real verdant green and resilience into your lawn. If you fancy spending a bit more money and saving yourself a bit more hassle, you can go for a liquid iron product. Now personally, this is my preference because I like to save a bit of time and make things easy for myself. Same sort of thing. Liquid iron, again, will offer you a verdant green, disease resilience, and will also help with chlorophyll production as well. So start your grass greener, which will be lovely. That's my preference. Now if you really want to turbocharge what you're doing for your lawns, and we always recommend this, chuck in some liquid seaweed. Liquid seaweed is so underrated and so undervalued in lawn care, but it's an absolute treasure trove of natural organic nutrients, trace elements and trace minerals. And the top secret thing with this is not only does it feed your grass, it feeds your soil as well. And the key to a good lawn is not necessarily what you do with the grass, but what you do with the soil. And we often talk about things like aeration and that. This goes hand in hand. This will feed your soil, it will feed up your microbiome and your soil biology, and to the point where it's kind of running along like a little engine underneath and giving your lawn a really good boost from below as well as what you're putting on top. Now, this product here, it's just a simple case of mix it with the right amount of water, pop it in your knapsack and spray away. This product here, same again, mix it with the right amount of water, pop it in your knapsack and spray away. If you're mixing iron and seaweed together, you've got to be careful because if you mix them directly together, it goes claggy and goes sticky and like putty in some products. So here's my little top tip for this. When you're mixing up your iron and your seaweed together, get your knapsack or whatever spraying device you're using, pop some water in first, just plain water. Measure out your iron, put another amount of water in, give it a shake and give it a mix up. So what we're doing is we're diluting the iron. Measure out your seaweed, pop it in your knapsack, give it a shake, give it a mix up, then finish up with the remaining amount of water, whatever you got left, and give it a good shake. That way, you've got it mixed really, really well. You're not going to get any lumps, bumps, and you're not going to get the seaweed reacting to the iron so it goes claggy, especially if there's organic matter in the seaweed. Another little hack for you, one last thing as well. With your liquid iron, it will stain. If you're going to mix up on concrete, on paving slabs, if you're going to mix up on decking, it will stain. So, two little hacks I can offer you to help you with this, because once it's on there, you'll end up with rust patches. First thing, where you're going to treat, if your lawn area borders onto concrete, just soak the concrete first. Keep it wet before you spray. That means any overspray you're going to get is going to be dissipated by the water and not absorbed in by the concrete or the stone or the slabs. If you're unlucky and you get some on your feet and you find yourself walking it onto your patio, there's a product you can use to lift it, and you can thank me later for this. Go to any good automobile store, any good car store, big names, I'm not going to mention any, and get some wheel cleaning stuff, wheel cleaning spray. It's the type of stuff you spray on your wheels and it will go purple as it reacts to the iron and the brake dust. Get that. Find your dots on the concrete, spray it very quickly, give it a scrub, agitate it with a brush, flush it with water, you'll have no more stains. Don't forget that, because I can guarantee you, if you're spraying iron, you're going to stain something. I do, and I do it every day. That's Mark from The Lawnologist, and I hope that helped you.
Head over here to see Richard Salmon's podcast.